Alright, 7th graders, I'm going to show you how to use assembly constraints on number 2 for orthographic conversion, converting to a 3D model. Hopefully by now these are getting kind of simple to you, or at least you know what they're going to look like. Assembly constraints is new. We just looked at this on Friday. Some people looked at it earlier. They took off pretty well with it. There are some tricks to applying assembly constraints. Also, you can apply assembly constraints in more than one way to get those to work. So I have number 2 open here. Let's just look at it real quick. I'll show you my parts here in a moment. We've got 3 cubes in the back. We have our cylinder. We have our 2 triangles in this front row, and we have this half cylinder. So let's see how this goes. It's Monday. Let's see if we can get this done, get through this unit, and move on to something new. So I go to Inventor here, and I have my parts already open. I have my triangle, I have my cube with the hole, I have my half cylinder, I have my cube, and I have my cylinder. Now you don't necessarily have to have these open before you do an assembly. I just have these open so I know what I'm looking for. I have so many files in Autodesk Inventor right now. When I go to place components into an assembly, I want to make sure I know what it is that I'm placing in there so I don't have to do a lot of backtracking. So I'm going to go New, and it is a standard IAM. This is a new one for us. It's a standard assembly. We're going to go Create. We'll give it a moment to load. So up here, things look a little bit different than what you're used to when you're making a 2D sketch and then extruding it. We're not doing any of that right now. We're going to go to Place. And I'm going to start with my cubes. There's 3 of them, so I'm going to open Cube. I'm going to place the first one. I'm going to zoom a little bit out using the wheel on my mouse, and I'll place the other 2. And then I'll hit Escape so I don't accidentally place a 4th one. Let's go find our triangles. So I'll go Place. Computer's having a hard time this morning. So am I. Should be that one right there. And we'll need 2 of those. 2, hit Escape. Zoom out a little bit. Grab my hand that over. So it looks good. Back to place. I need cylinder and my half cylinder. Cylinder. Escape. And one more. My half cylinder. Okay. Alright. So let's put these together. We use our constrain command. We click on that. We get a dialog box. It gives us several options. We got the type of assembly we're doing right here, and we have our solutions here. The types we're going to be looking at this one here, a mate, and we're also going to look at this one here, a tangent for that cylinder. Our solutions are mate and flush. To me, mate is like a magnet, and flush lines things up. So often I'll start with a mate, and then I might apply a couple of flushes. Sometimes you can do a full assembly just with mates, but alignment, flush works pretty quick and easy. So I'm on mate and mate. So I'll click on that side. And I'll swing it around and click on the joint side. That thing chugged this morning. I got the sound effects turned off. Those were a bit loud last time. So we're going to apply that. Hopefully my computer doesn't explode the way it's moving slow. I'm going to switch over to flush. Do those two. Apply. You can still see I got that little edge not lined up there. So I'm going to flush that as well. And apply. Like I said before, if you ever have any constraint that doesn't work the way you want it to, make sure you back out of that command. Don't get buried in constraint. Don't get buried in commands. Otherwise, you have to come over to the side menu here in your model browser, look at your history, and edit things from there. And it can start getting kind of complicated. All right, I'm going to switch back to a mate. We'll join this third cube, so that surface is going to be connected to that surface. Apply. Now this looks a little confusing. It doesn't really look like they're touching much, but they are on the same plane. And so if I go to flush, and I flush those edges, things start looking better. There's our three cubes together, right there. The half cylinder looks close. Let's put that where it belongs. So I'm going to switch over to mate. That side there, and that side there. Make sure you're picking the whole side and not just the line. Apply. Here's another weird one where it doesn't look like they're touching, but they're on the same plane. So I'll switch over to flush. Looks pretty good, but again, they're still not lined up. So I'm going to do a little testing here. I'm going to switch to mate. Let me zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to pick this line, and I want it to join that line. I want them to be together. Will that work? It does. I may have gotten lucky on that. If I close this box, I can grab my object and test it. Okay, I think we're okay so far. So let me go back here, little house on the view cube, and we'll try and put this triangle in next to the half cylinder. Open constraints back up. I'm in mate. I'm in mate. So I'm going to click on that surface there. It's going to join the back of this triangle. Apply. All right. Switch to flush. And we'll flush the bottoms up. I'm going to use a flush and with an offset to push that in next to that half cube. So I'm still on flush. I'm going to flush that to there. I'm going to set my offset to 1. Goes the wrong way, so I'm going to switch 1 to up here. I'm going to switch 1 to -1. That is exactly where I want it, so I'm going to apply it. All right, let me get this out of the way for a minute. I need to do some alignment. So I'm going to move this triangle here. It's facing the wrong way. I'm going to right-click, free rotate, and I need to swing that around. This part can be a little tricky. Drag that down into place. I think I have that pretty close. Close enough that it's not going to get the computer confused. If you get it way out there and you apply a constraint, the computer might not do what you want it to. So I'm going to make that surface to this one. We're okay. Apply. How about if I stay on mate there and I mate this part of the triangle to this part? Okay. Looks good. Let's switch to flush. And let's do the bottom to there. Let's put our little house on the view cube so we can see what's going on. We'll close this box. We'll grab this. Moves around good. All right. Tricky part could be the cylinder. It went well on part 1 for us, so let's see how we do here. I'm going to right-click, free rotate. Just going to kind of bring it into place there. place it, make sure it's standing up in the right direction, hit escape, and kind of drag that down close to our object. Kind of adjust my view cube to see if I'm getting it near that area. Like I said, I like to have it close so the computer doesn't get confused, because it'll do that to you. All right, we're going to go constrain. We're going to try tangent, outside tangent. So talk about this surface to there. Let's see what happens. All right, looks like it'll work. I mean, it looks silly, but I think it's going to work. So I'm going to go apply. I'm going to switch back to, up here on type, I'm going to switch back to mate. I'm going to switch to flush. And I'm going to flush the tops. So now the top and bottom are flushed. I'm going to go back to tangent, make sure I'm on outside tangent. I'm going to do the circle to the front of the cube. And I'm going to make my offset 1. Nope. I'm going to make my offset -1. You never know sometimes. We're going to apply that. We're going to close this box. We're going to hit little house on the view cube. We're going to grab that object, and success. We're ready to snip that and just copy it into an email so that I know that you're doing okay with assembly constraints. All right,